Thank you so much for joining me today. I am recording this for the second time today, so hopefully it works out a little bit better than before. But first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who commented or liked or subscribed on my first video. Honestly, I wasn't really expecting anybody to watch, and the fact that you did and seemed to like it is really heartwarming, and I very much appreciate that. It encouraged me to film this next video. I kind of had to make myself wait 2 weeks to film because I was thinking, I was just so eager to film the next installment or the next episode. But having waited 2 weeks now, I know that that was definitely the better idea because I have a little bit more to talk about this time than I would have if I had only waited 1 week. So that was good. But I really appreciate all of your encouragement and support, and it really means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Let's just go ahead and dive into this video. Last time I had shown a work in progress, my little alien schoolgirl sampler. This is from Ink Circles, but I failed to show you what it will look like ultimately, which is this. I love it. I think it's super fun and cheeky and fantastic, but I've got a ways to go. I'm only like here. All of this still. One of the things that I really love about the pattern too is that it came with sort of a little decoder as far as what each little motif is. So for instance, number 1, it says for this guy up here, sandworms, they appear to be everywhere in space, which I thought was hilarious because sandworms play a really big role in Dune, which I mentioned last time is a favorite world of mine. So that was super fun. But I have that. I haven't worked on it. It's still in the same place it was last time. But I just wanted to show you what it's supposed to look like when it's all done. So you can see, since I forgot to bring it down last time. And then I had also mentioned last time this fully finished piece that I made for Kyle in 2016, 17. Oh. It is from Pyro Dog Pins on Etsy, inspired by Stephen King's The Shining. In particular, it was inspired by the Stanley Kubrick film, which you can tell because of the carpet in the corners. And also, the original pattern had the number 237, which is the room number in the movie. I changed it to 217 because that's the room number in the book. Kyle and I are both huge Stephen King fans, so that was fun. But part of what killed me was how many stitches there are in this typewriter. So many stitches. It's huge. Like, that's a lot of stitching. And it's even like color blocked. Like, it's not confetti heavy or anything. It was just so much. And I really thought that I could do it more quickly than I could, but I finished it eventually, and I love it, and he loves it. It's down in his desk area in the basement in his office, so I had to pull it up, but I like it, and I'll link it down below, or in the show notes, which I might put on my blog. I'm not sure. I guess that would mean I had to start a blog, or continue the blog that I started a while ago. Anyway, there will be information on this for you if you're interested in seeing more about it. So I just wanted to bring those up, and then I also wanted to show you this cute little notebook that Kyle gifted me for Christmas. I haven't stitched anything on it yet. I've been trying to figure out what to stitch on it. I think what I might do is stitch little bits of motifs or patterns from all of the charts that I work on throughout the year, because I don't think this will last me much more than just this year. Right now I'm using it for FlossTube notes, so it might last me longer than a year, we'll see. But, and I maybe will also put in information in there just on goals or challenges that I'm working on. But I think it'll be really fun to have at the end of the year kind of a little scrapbook of all of the stitches or all of the stitching that I did throughout the year. So we'll see how that goes. I have to kind of plot that out a little bit still. But I think it's really cute and it's super fun. Kyle knows I love notebooks, and of course with all the stitching. This was a really fantastic find. I think it's from Dimensions actually, but I think he found it at Joann's. So that's super fun, and like I said, I'm using it for my FlossTube notes, so I gotta open that back up to the page I needed. So since I last talked to you, I had one finish, which I'm super excited about. It was really close to being finished anyway, but I finished Winter Wonderland. I had mentioned in the video that I was missing the color for like this light blue color here, the stuff. And this is the color that was called for. And I went out and got it, and it wasn't the same color that I had used originally. And that's because the original color, or the color that I used originally, was $9.96. So I went through all of my floss and color matched what I had already used, found the color, and just finished it. It took 2 days maybe to get it cranked out, and it was super nice to get that done. I think what I want to do with this is either make a flat fold or a pillow finish. I'm not sure yet which one I want to do. I do know in either case I want to use this fabric though, because I think that's going to look pretty cool. I think I might try a flat fold because I've done a pillow finish before, and I like trying new techniques and learning new techniques. So if I try a flat fold, that'll be the first time I've tried a flat fold, and I think that would be really fun. In part because I like this. This is really fun. It was a great stitch, but I would not be heartbroken if for some reason my flat fold technique ruined it. It would stink, and I would be bummed, but I wouldn't be heartbroken. So I think that I will try the flat fold technique on this and see if I can master that, because I have a couple other finishes that I want to do as well, but I'll get to that a little bit later. As far as what I actually worked on, as far as stitching and other crafts are concerned, in the last 2 weeks, I had filmed on the 13th, on Sunday the 13th, which of course is Dark October. No, it's not. It's Dark 13, because it's January. It's alright if it were Halloween, though. I could go for Halloween all year round. This is a project bag I made for myself using Vanna's tutorial, the project envelope tutorial. I made a couple, and this one probably gets the most use because I love the Sugar School pattern. And it is holding Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, or my current block of this, which is block number 5. Oh look, you can do it this way. It's a little bit bigger so you can see it. This is going to be a long-term project, obviously. I worked on it for about a week and then a little bit yesterday. So this is how far I got, which I'm pretty impressed with. I did almost all of the motifs and all of the extra little things except for filling in this treasure chest, because I can't find that floss. I thought I had grabbed them all, but apparently not. So I just need to fill that in, and then I have to fill in all the rest of this with water, with the light blue, dark, medium blue, and dark blue. I've already started a little bit. You can see over here. It's gonna take forever, but that's okay because I really enjoy it, and this is on 40 count mallow, which I really like. The count, not necessarily the color. The color's fine. It's a good neutral. But I really, really, really like 40 count. I'm using 1 thread over 2 for this, and I really love it. I think partly because I feel like the stitches are nice and neat, and I don't have to worry about trying to get them, you know, situated right. I don't have to do any like fancy laying or trying to, you know, split the threads, like railroad the stitches or anything. So I really, 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 really love working on 40 count with 1/2. I think I might try to do that more often with everything, because this is just a really fantastic and fun, and it feels easygoing. like, especially now that all I'm doing is filling in. I'm not doing any counting or anything. I know exactly where all the stitches need to go. There's just so many of them. So it might be a while before this actually gets finished, but this will be a good sort of travel project, or, you know, when I don't feel like working on anything else, or when my brain's just kind of zapped, I can work on this and get this done, hopefully. So that'll be fun. So that I worked on that for the almost the full week between or after Dark 13 stitching in January, and that was a lot of fun. And then I switched to working on this next project, another project bag, another one I made, except this one has buttons and little elastic loops to attach it. This is Fibery Friends sampler from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this one last Sunday, about a week ago, and I've been working on it pretty monogamously, really, since I started on it. And this, again, is on Picture This Plus Twilight on 28 count. So I switched from working on 40 count with Halloween at Hawk Rock Hollow to 28 count, and I did not like that transition at all. I'm not really a fan of 28 count. I'm just using 2/2. Part of me, especially like with the white or the ecru, thinks that maybe I should have done 3/2, but that's all right. And ultimately, because I'm using, sorry, let me put that back. I'll get this. Because I'm using actual yarn for all of the handmade pieces in this, 28 count is the better thing because the yarn is thicker, so it's harder. So for instance, like this yarn here, which is called Back from Earth, and these are all Nerd Girl yarns colorways. I used this on the little sheep sweater because every sheep needs a sweater, right? This is Glow Cloud, which I used on these stockings here. And in some of them, I'm kind of not able to use up the whole repeat of the color. So I'll have to like cut it and manipulate the colors a little bit, but that's okay. This is Moon Base, which is for this sweater here. Is that gonna, no, okay. And then this is We Are All Mad here, I think, which is this mitten and all the way across to the other mitten. And this has a little bit of silk in it, which made it like super, super nice and smooth to stitch with, and I really loved that. This is You're on the Wrong Side of the River, inspired by The Mummy, the old movies with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. And I used the yellowish and the darker color to make the striped scarf here. Super fun. This is called Codex, and I've used it in these like 5-stitch blocks, the kind of fill-in blocks. It also has a little bit of silk in it, and I think that made it like super nice to stitch with as well, which is fantastic. I love that. What else have I already used? I think that's it, right? Oh, no. This is Earth Death, and I've used it on this little heart over here, which is not going to focus on, sorry. Nope, okay. What's Earth Death? Nice red, yellow, and blue. So I've really, really, really enjoyed doing that and coming up with and figuring out which actual yarns I wanted to use to stitch each piece. What's left is there are this other scarf over here, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, and these 2 socks. which one of those I do want to use this color on, which is the Hypnotic Stockings, because I did a whole project for myself with this colorway and made several different pairs of socks in different constructions. Maybe I'll show those sometime. It was super fun, but I definitely want to make one of those socks this colorway. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but the pattern itself has like these cute little motifs like on the sweater and on these mittens. I left those out. I thought that the colors in the, you know, dyed yarn, hand-dyed yarn, really speak for themselves, and so I left them alone. I didn't put in any motifs in either of those. So I'm not sure about the socks yet, if I want like a cuff and a heel and a toe, because I think that's really neat. Like maybe for the Hypnotic Stockings I won't, but this one I'll make different and do something else with it. I'm not sure yet. But otherwise, it's almost done, and then I have to knit the people, which I might change up a little bit, just so it's a little more diverse and inclusive. Yeah, I think I would like to do that. And I think this is a penguin. I'm not sure. It looks like a penguin. You know, it was kind of a big deal when people were making sweaters for penguins, right? So maybe that's what that is. Maybe. I'm not sure. Because, like, all the other animals make sense, right? Like alpaca and buffalo, sheep, rabbit. Although the rabbit's purple, I'm not sure why the rabbit's like this purplish, which is this heart color. It doesn't matter. It's cute. It's fun. So I just need to do a couple of other things, find some more yarn to make these other 3 things, put the drive band on the spinning wheel, and then put in my people and the penguin and fill in the words. So that'll be fun and easy, I think. I'm not sure if I'll finish it this month or if I'll, you know, maybe do it next month or the month after, just because I kind of want to get back to working on some other things. Let's see if the white balance will correct itself. So that's fun, and I've been working on that the last week, and I've really enjoyed it. It's just cute and fun. I really like the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery in general. I think their patterns are really cute. I really like their Halloween Town pattern. I've been thinking about doing that one. I'm not sure if I will or not. There's so many Halloween patterns I want to do because I love Halloween. But that's really all the stitching I've worked on. It was just Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow and then the Fibery Friends sampler from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I did, however, work on some non-stitching crafts, which was super fun for me. First of all, I did some spinning. I'm super excited. Last year at some point, some friends and I were doing a spin-along for a combo spin, which is where you take a bunch of different braids of fiber and you divide them into little sections and then spin them up in sections, just random sections, so it's not very long of a section. But then you can kind of make, I don't know, it's a combo spin. I don't know how to describe it really. It will eventually, you know, once I apply this, because I'll end up doing a 2-ply, I think, we'll tone down a little bit. So like this might be plied with some orange or some purple or there's like some greens and teals as well. So it really just kind of depends on how it plies, but it overall will have like a nice marled effect. And I'm really excited about that. So I did some spinning on that, maybe about 45 minutes worth. I'm almost done with this first bobbin. And once I finish this bobbin, I will start my next bobbin. I'm not sure how many bobbins it'll take, maybe 3 or 4. There's a lot of fiber in there. I think I ended up using maybe 16 to 20 ounces of various fibers to pull my various sections from. It's super fun. I'm super excited. The people that were doing the spin along with me, they're the ones that actually started it, and I kind of just tagged along with them. They already spun their yarn and made sweaters out of the yarn that they spun, so I'm super lagging behind, which is fine. You know, whatever. I picked like the oranges in this because I kind of think that it looks a little Halloween-y, which I like, even with like some of the purples and then Like there's some teals and things. So I think it looks very Halloween-y, and I don't know if I'm going to make a sweater out of this or maybe use it for the edging of a Halloween blanket that I have in mind, or that I have got started actually already. We'll kind of see how that goes. I have to finish the spinning and apply it all together to see what kind of yarn it makes and what I want to do with that yarn first. But that was super fun because I haven't spun anything in a really long time. So that was nice just to make myself sit down and do that, and I really enjoyed it. And then I also worked on a crochet blanket. I've got this other project bag. My friend Kel gifted this to me, and she bought it from our friend Jane's Etsy store, so I'll link that too. But it's Game of Thrones, which is nice and fitting because, not because of the project, but because right now Kyle and I are rewatching all of Game of Thrones in anticipation of the final season. I'm so excited. And I understand it so much better. Like, there are so many things that I missed the first watch through because we really only watched it in real time. And I hadn't read the books. I tried. I didn't really take to it very well. But anyway, this is holding my granny stripe blanket, crochet blanket. Each stripe is a different colorway in the X-Files colorways that I'm doing for each single episode, for every single episode of the X-Files, which I find fascinating and exciting. I'm not sure that everybody else does, but this is a project for me, even though if you were interested for the current colorways, you'd be able to pre-order them or whatever. But anyway, the first episode, the pilot episode, let me see if I can hold this up, is this first line here. And this is the yarn, which is called Sorry, Nobody Down Here But the FBI's Most Unwanted, which is the first thing that Mulder says to Scully. I think it might be the first thing that Mulder says in the entire series, actually. I think it is. Anyway, I really like it. I thought it was fun. The second episode is called, the second episode is Deep Throat, where we get the character of Deep Throat, played by Jerry Hardin. And the yarn is called All the Evidence to the Contrary is Not Entirely Dissuasive. I've considered making the colorway names a little bit shorter, but for now, I like it. I just pull them from quotes from the episodes, which I think is fun. So that's this second line here, the second granny stripe. That's super fun. The third episode is Squeeze, where we're first introduced to Eugene Victor Toombs. And that's this third line. And this colorway is called Without Betraying My Cool Exterior, taken from when Mulder's trying to get the bile off of his fingers because he doesn't want to betray his cool exterior. I wouldn't either. I like it. It's a nice kind of... I'm not really a huge fan of yellow, but I actually really like this. I don't know. Anyway, and then episode 4 is called Conduit, and this is One Day She'll Return, because we find out a little bit more about Mulder's sister in that episode. But that's this line here. And I really like it as well. It's kind of like purplish gray and then a sort of dusky orange. Episode 5 is The Jersey Devil, and this is called Not Outside the Realm of Extreme Possibility. And of course, I had to cake them. They're not in their regular skein form, but I had to cake them so I could work from them. And that's this neutralish color here, which I like. And then the last one that I've got so far is Campaign of Misinformation, and that's this top row. I really like this one too. Those last two, Not Outside the Realm of Extreme Possibility and Campaign of Misinformation, are available if you're interested on therubykey.com. I'll link that below too. But mostly, like, it's a super fun project for me. It's something that I've thought about doing. I've actually also thought about doing a sampler based on the X-Files. I'm not sure yet, though. I have to kind of figure that out. I think it would be pretty awesome, and I would certainly like having it, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a cross-stitch designer. I know that probably we all could be if we were interested, but that's something that I have to kind of look at down the road. But that was something else that I worked on. I actually had only, when I started working on this, I only had the first 2 rows done, so I did 4 rows on it, and that's pretty nice. And this is really long, so each row takes like maybe 35 to 45 minutes, but it's nice, and I think it'll be really fantastic once it's all done. I still don't know how I keep getting like these wonky, this is the end, so this is all wonky. I keep adding extra stitches here. I need to figure that out. Crochet is not my main craft with fiber. I knit a lot more than I crochet, so I need to figure this out eventually. Like, turning and going back would be easier, but I'm just starting again. Like, I'm not, I don't know what the word is. Like, sorry. I'm just knitting or crocheting like across and then ending it and then crocheting across again. I'm not turning the work and then crocheting back, because each individual row is a separate colorway anyway. So that's how that's working out. But I really like it. It's really fun. I think it's going to be a great blanket when it's done. It'll be, 230-ish rows long, which I think will be plenty long for that, and that'll be super fun. So that's kind of all I've been working on. Those 2 Halloween Hawk Run Hollow I stitched on, and Fibery Friends I stitched on, and then I worked on some of my spinning and some of my crochet. For the plans coming up, I would like to do some finishing, in particular because I finished the Winter Wonderland sampler, or whatever. I want to finish that into a flat fold, I think I decided while we were talking. But I also have this beach postcard, which I want to finish for my mom. I stitched it for her for Christmas, but I didn't actually get it framed or anything because I asked her what she wanted done with it, and I think I'm gonna try and make a mini wall hanging, mini quilt or something for it. I think it'll be really cute and fun, and it'll be fun because she retired to the beach basically in Oregon, so I think that'll be fun. And then I'd also like to finish this piece, which I finished stitching I think in 2016. I'm not sure. I should have looked that up. It says, "Don't blink, blink and you're dead," which is a quote from Doctor Who, and this is the Doctor, the 10th Doctor, the best Doctor, obviously. But I wanted to also finish this into like a quilt mini wall hanging. And I have these 2 fabrics to go with it, which I think will be pretty great. I just have to figure out placement and such. So I will hopefully work on that today because I've got my sewing machine and everything out. So that'll be fun. I would like to finish Fibery Friends, but I don't know if I'll finish that before the next video. I might kind of get the urge to work on something else, and that's fine, because I've got some time before that retreat in April that I wanted to have it finished for. But then I think I'll probably, work on the Master of the Macabre, because I haven't worked on that at all since my last video, and then also Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, just filling in all of that water whenever, my brain is too fried to do anything else. And maybe a new start, I'm not sure. I might also do some knitting, because I haven't done any knitting in a while, since December at some point. So that would be fun too. But that's kind of all I've got right now. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking with me. I appreciate it. I will be back in about 2 weeks, and then hopefully we'll have some more, stuff to show off and more interesting things to show. But that's all for now. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stitching or happy crafting, happy whatever you are doing or wanting to do, and have a great week. Thanks. Bye.